1, 2, 3, 4.
In this podcast, you will hear Knights of Vader, Knights of Vader includes, but is not limited to, talk of Star Wars, not ray guns. We can't truly prepare for the jump that follows this song, but hey, we gave it a try. So here's the Knights of Vader. Crystal Fox reports they are divided. Prequel, sequel, canons up, they fight. I know that we are just musicians hired, and their time is up, so here's the Knights of Vader.
Impressive. Most impressive.
Thank you. I have an inferiority complex for providing our theme song. It is August 5th, 2022. It is currently 72 degrees. The high today was 89. The low will be 67, and it is currently raining outside. You got me, Zenger.
And Chris is here. How's it going, everybody?
And hello, this is Russ. How are you doing?
And Joe is here as well.
Oh, yeah, he does introduce people. Well, too bad. Zach's not here, so we're going to talk about, part 6 of season 1 of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yes, it's finally happening. Everyone cheer.
Yeah, we
All
have
right.
been
Calm down. Everybody.
We've been so excited since this came out. We knew we couldn't get behind microphones to talk about this. So we better wait a few weeks to just really simmer on this.
Possibly a month and a half.
Let it marinate.
Juicy. All right. So with that being said, I guess we're gonna. I feel like at some point we need to get brought back down to tattooing. So, Chris, I'm going to give you the floor first because I feel like by doing this, we can only go up from there.
Well, I think the high point of the series was really we probably all forget where we were, right? So at the end of part 5, yeah, you have Obi-Wan and the proto rebels escaping on their very basic sort of rebel transport thing, and Obi-Wan's like he's kind of tripping out and on that ship. He's like, did I forget something? I think I forgot something. I don't know.
Up and on.
He jumps up and says Kevin and grabs his face, but yeah. So that like the end of part 5 where it's Obi-Wan freaking out and like that big close up of his face that's like 30 seconds long, and then it sort of eases in on the Lars Homestead and on Sleep and Luke with John Williams' one contribution to the music for this show. That ending of part 5 was great. I felt mildly threatened by Reva knowing where Luke is, even though I know canonically he could not be safer. I thought the end of that was really great, and then I don't know, like it's so for me opening up part 6, it sort of dragged a little bit. I didn't really care for the spaceship drama on the rebel transport, but and Roken and Roken, help me out, guys. Who plays Roken? What's his name?
I'm not sure him, but that whole battle is very. I think it's because of recency. It's like it's very Last Jedi. I've actually seen Last Jedi pretty recently, and I feel like I'm kind of going through the same thing, just a little smaller scale.
Yeah.
What was the best part of Last Jedi? That's right, the slow speed space chase. Let's have that be a running theme in Star Wars stuff. I cannot wait for Andorian to have multiple slow speed space chases. And technically Book of Boba Fett had one, but it was done on the ground, which is even more boring.
Well, I was just mentioning Roken because after his episode popped up, I forgive me, I don't remember that name of the actor, but I saw like a headline where he was like, it was so great to be finally part of the Star Wars universe and play a completely indispensable character who played an integral role in the Star Wars saga. I'm like,
you did?
What?
Wait, is it dispensable or indispensable?
Indispensable. It was just weird. Like he was playing, he was putting a lot of emphasis.
He's taxi driver.
And because it's the volume, he never quite interacts with any. There's no like bridge on that rebel transport. They just sort of stand in rooms that don't really have much.
It's just like a long hallway. It seems like with little alcoves where Obi-Wan always finds a little closet somewhere where he did a Padme ship. Like he's always looking for that room.
Well, he also that ship, the ship that comes out of the ship is like 2/3 of the ship.
That's a cool ship he had. When he has it later, I'm like, oh, I like this little thing.
Yeah. That opens up. That hangar must have been, where everyone was standing. So clearly all the pedestrians got sucked into the vacuum of space when Obi-Wan pulled his starfighter out of there.
I'm going to save you all by killing you all.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
You don't know this, but I think most Star Wars ships are actually 3 ships. And we don't really realize it. They could just break off parts. It happens quite a bit. In Rebels, isn't the main thing that the ship is 2 ships?
Yeah, I think it's the Ghost and the Phantom, maybe. The Phantom's like a little shuttle or something.
And I'm sure there's multiple escape pods everywhere that just never get mentioned.
Yeah. And like that Razor Crest escape pod, that's only on the toy. Like, that's good stuff. But
you think the cockpit of the Falcon could become an escape pod at some point where it just shoots off?
Well, of course the Falcon has escape pods because if
you're stuck up there and you're like, see you later, you can't pilot this thing now. That's a good way to kill the Falcon.
Well, I don't think that's the escape pod though, because like on the Death Star, he says they're all jettisoned already. The Imperial officer.
There's one on each side. I'm sorry, I'm looking at my toy right now. There's supposedly one on each side.
Well, do you think is that thing that
and
we
then
saw?
The front part comes off too, but that's like a luxury escape pod.
Right. Well, what was the escape pod that Rey used in The Last Jedi?
It's like a photon.
That was like a different one. Yeah, Falcon's got a lot of escape pods. But anyway, so Obi-Wan's this has a lot, like you said, this not only is the slow hyperspace chase, if maybe they're not in hyperspace, I can't remember.
No, they're not. But they're absolutely not in hyperspace.
All right, I
think it's mentioned that the hyperdrive is broken.
Okay, so not only is that slow chase similar to Last Jedi, but you also have somebody sneaking out of the ship, sort of, and like breaking off, and I guess they actually chased Obi-Wan rather than the main ship in this case. So that was a little bit weird how like he was just sort of zigzagging in front of the Star Destroyer and it couldn't quite get him, and then he took off.
We get some awesome shots of a Star Destroyer. Thank you.
Yeah,
that bridge scene. There is a great bridge scene, and I was completely watching this. I gotta say, after waiting a few weeks after kind of watching it every week as it came out, watching the finale was kind of satisfying to watch again. And I really liked that scene on the bridge with Vader. But there's something about the Inquisitor being right there that it almost feels like this is when the creative character enters the cutscene or something. With him there, I know he's a canonical figure, but everything looks so perfect. And then the Inquisitor standing there, like,
oh no, wait, I'm actually watching this live in the background. Oh God, such a beautiful shot of a Star Destroyer. Beautiful. It'd be even better if it was an atmosphere, but I will accept this.
Yeah, well, it sort of blew my theory away when we last recorded. How I was talking about how it seemed like they were purposely avoiding showing the exteriors of a Star Destroyer, but they just did it a bunch in Part 6. Maybe they were saving it for Part 6, but so like, what do you guys think about the depiction of hyperspace travel? Right, I guess the main weird thing here is like, it's fine that Obi-Wan like sort of runs off and goes to a planet whose name I don't remember, but like the thing with Reva is like, people have talked about this ad nauseum at this point, but like, what ship did she use? How did she get to Tatooine so fast that she was the first scene of the episode on Tatooine? Vader wrecked that transport. All the Imperials came down in like one shuttle, pretty much.
No, there was another ship on that ship, as we have seen.
Oh, so
God, that is like 2/3 of that ship. And yes, Russ, you are correct. The creative character is great.
Yeah, it's like this looks like a scene from the original trilogy, except for
him,
this guy. Yeah, but I mean, so like, how do you guys feel about the depiction of hyperspace? Of course, in A New Hope, you have Han saying, "Oh, it's a big deal. You guys might as well sit down for a bit. It's going to take us a few hours to get to Alderaan."
Why are we talking about hyperspace? Oh, okay.
Because Reva like teleports to Tatooine and like she somehow pulls herself together and finds a ship and gets there while Obi-Wan is still running away from that Star Destroyer.
That could have taken weeks. They could have been on. Don't forget, an entire subplot of Last Jedi happened while they were chasing them through space. 2 subplots.
I can hear people now. Like Dave Filoni once gave an answer to this sort of criticism where he's like, just because of the order a scene happens in an episode doesn't mean that's the order it happened canonically. So he's saying, like, when he says that, he basically means like, we decided to open the episode on Reva on Tatooine, but she might not have got there till like later than the events that you see right afterwards. I think that is reprehensible behavior, personally.
Yeah, I think you can do that with certain things. Like you can do that with the element of Luke on Dagobah and Han, flying around and kind of aimlessly for a long time. You don't really know what went on in all that time, but these characters, Obi-Wan and Reva, were together right before. So yeah, it's become this whole fast travel element of everything, where everything is just, you can either instant travel or you can just slowly taking forever to get there.
Yeah, 10 minutes. So Reva speeds off to Tatooine after hearing.
Or leisurely flies there, we don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Dave Filoni would chastise me for assuming I know when she got there. But so she heard a broken part of Bail Organa's message saying like something like the boy Tatooine. That's pretty much all she heard.
And of course, there's only one
Owen.
boy on Tatooine.
Owen, yeah, okay. She had Owen, who she already met, so fair enough. But what do we think what is her interpretation? Like, does she instantly figure out that, like, does she understand that that's Anakin's kid immediately?
Rewatching this, sorry to interrupt, there is no way this takes place in chronological order. There is absolutely no way, because we got the Lars Homestead doomsday prepping, we got her showing up, Vader, like, there is no way this takes place at the same time. We are seeing events transpire.
Yeah, a lot of times a farmer heard a rumor and went out there. Like, a lot of things had to transpire for the Lars to figure all that out, and they got to just kind of take their time. And she's walking, isn't she?
Yeah, and Vader had to be in Fortnite that week for the event that he was part of.
She doesn't even have like a blood fin to like speed out to the Lars Homestead like quickly. So Darth Maul had it figured out. Like, he got on a motorcycle and was gonna like clothesline a little kid. She's walking out there.
He also sent out tiny probe droid-esque things everywhere.
Yeah, I don't know.
It still took forever to find things. This episode took place over months.
I think we figured out one of them was still flying around in A New Hope. That that Maul just left there. Those little secret doors.
That's funny. That it does take Maul a long time to figure out what's going on Tatooine. That is true. But yeah, so I don't know. But so we don't. It's not confirmed what she actually figured out, I guess, until sort of the end, because it's like, if she didn't think that was Anakin's kid, what the heck was she doing in the first place? So we're to assume that she put that together somehow.
Also, how many people are named Lars on that?
Well, it said Owen, not Lars.
Oh, sorry, Owen on that rock.
Right.
Good point. She is figuring out things that even the Emperor supposedly has not figured out yet.
Well, he does. You forget in part 1, she does meet him and he does tell her his name and everything. So of course she's like, that could be the only person with that name. Impossible for Star Wars to have multiple people with multiple names. Also, I think I've read somewhere that Skywalker's like the Smith of the Star Wars universe.
Well, Lucas did say that once on a talk show when someone was like, the prequels were coming out and he was doing the rounds, and somebody was like, so those guys just never changed his name when he got dropped off there. And then Lucas ad hoc said that Skywalker is like Smith. But he didn't think of it until that moment.
Nope, it all was written down, just like the original trilogy. Just like the prequels were all. Jar Jar Binks is a cocaine dream of the 1970s.
He just didn't have the budget to do it all. He knew it all, what was going to go on. It had to be convoluted. It was his stuff.
All of it.
He knew a couple things, and like, it's remarkable how close he stuck to those couple things 20 years later. But nevertheless,
speaking of things like that, though, if you're going to bring up things referencing even just A New Hope and stuff, when we get finally the fight between the two, I did like a lot of the elements of that correct things. Like, when Anakin says, you didn't kill Anakin, I did, basically saying, so he kind of fixes a lot of, not that Obi-Wan's speech needed fixing, but he makes Obi-Wan sound like he's telling a lot more truth to Luke. on the way these things are being said, like calling him Darth. Another correction I felt.
What? Yeah. I mean, I thought the duel was pretty interesting. I mean, it does commence like 5 or 10 minutes into this episode. It starts pretty early and goes on for a while.
Actually, it commences about 17 minutes into the episode, give or take.
Okay.
With the cutting away to the Lars homestead, which once again is taking place at a different time.
All right.
Is
Well,
my assumption.
the duel was way better than the construction site duel. But I mean, that goes without saying.
we can compare those. You're comparing a ripe, amazing sweet tango apple to a rotten red delicious sitting on the ground. Sweet tango apple.
Maybe they did that on purpose. Yeah, right on. And maybe they did this as a thing. Like, let's put a real crappy battle to start with, so people be like, "What was that?" And then what did y'all think of like whatever super version Obi-Wan doing things you've never seen?
The Super Saiyan Obi-Wan.
Super Saiyan Obi-Wan.
I mean, well, like I think I liked everything except that personally, because it's just when Obi-Wan sort of smugly starts smiling and looking forward, and like an armada of CGI rocks start pummeling Vader, you get a pretty strong sense that Ewan McGregor has no idea what's actually happening in the scene, but he's just like, they told me to pose like so, and then an army of flying CGI rocks are gonna like bombard Vader in such a way that would completely like dismantle him beyond all recognition, but that doesn't happen, of course. And it just sort of reminded me of like Rey lifting rocks, and it's just like, because it's literally lifting rocks, and it also looks equally effortless to both of them. And it's just
becoming a trope, a force trope of. I mean, it's always been lifting rocks, but now rocks are like on the number 4 list of Jedi weapons. Like,
you must lift 40 at once. That's what it's become. Yeah, but I don't know. Like I thought it was okay. The duel sort of had a handful of missed opportunities for me, but it was sort of visually interesting. I don't know.
Up right there. That's why his knees hurt later. We see it all happen right there.
There you go. But I mean, but I think it's an open question. What's actually more deadly? A couple close slashes with a lightsaber, or 40 giant boulders being whipped at your head? I'm not sure the lightsaber is more dangerous in this instance. I'm really not. I mean, the inertia of a boulder coming at you from 50 feet away. I'm not sure.
You can always, say, well, he's got the Force, protecting him. It's very comic booky, even for a Star Wars battle. Like, it does. Yeah. I know people posted after. I know there's that one comic book image from, I don't know, one of those Elseworlds comics where Obi-Wan has like 30 blasters raised up with the Force.
Yeah. I know which one you're talking about.
Taking out, one of those Star Wars Infinities. It's most likely from. And it almost is like that. It's just rocks instead. And it's like, and a lot of people pump their fist and are like really into that. Like, they want the superhero. I'm like, I kind of like him just, dueling and throwing occasional things. It didn't need to be that for me.
Yeah, I think the sort of basic part of the duel was pretty good. Joe, what was your take on the duel and these couple specific moments we're talking about?
Well, my big take from it was the duel was really good, and it showed the Obi-Wan of old. But him actually demonstrating with the rocks, it's when he was buried underneath the rocks, and he was using the Force to almost repel them so he wouldn't suffocate. And then he's sitting there and remembering all the stuff that happened, but then he sits there and starts looking towards the future, and then he starts getting like re-energized. It's like he found his baseline to the Force again. And it's about the future, about thinking about the future, not thinking about the past. And that's what gets him back into like super Jedi mode, where his health bar gets
his spinach thinking
up.
About children.
Yeah,
so you got excited.
Hey.
Well, okay, but like the part where the rocks are all crushing, like almost crushing him. Like, I mean, like, I hate to say it, other people have said it. That's where Qui-Gon should have showed up, man. He should have just been a voice, or like a little glowing orb or something, like in Clone Wars.
It's like stop being a wuss.
No, I think him having that realization on his own is better character development for Obi-Wan, because the Qui-Gon thing is earned.
Okay,
And
but
with-
but where did Force Ghosts appear historically? Luke's about to die on Hoth, and he comes in, offers a little bit of hope before Han saves him. He's providing useful information, motivation, insight. What does Qui-Gon offer at the end of this show? He says, "Don't cancel your Disney Plus because season 2 is coming." That's what Qui-Gon has to say in this part. It's like he doesn't say anything for Obi-Wan. He says something for us, and he only shows up in physical form for us, not for Obi-Wan. Even though he literally says to Yoda in the Clone Wars, "I can't manifest myself in physical form because my training was incomplete." But
I did like his last line though when he said,
Well, my work is done here.
What do you mean your work is done? You didn't do anything.
Didn't I?
"Thank you, Liam Neeson, for welcome back to the franchise."
yeah, but I mean, there was like, am I crazy? I don't know how long it's been since you guys watched the lost episodes of the Clone Wars, but like that Liam Neeson scene, like where he's actually talking about meaningful stuff with Yoda, like that has more impact than this. It does. He's talking about important stuff that matters. He's not like, oh, good to see you now that you've done everything and I can no longer provide you any insight. I don't
You have
know.
unlocked Force Ghost.
Yeah. And I mean, and you know what? Would you believe that it's really hard to put somebody in the same costume they used 25 years ago and like pretend like they look the exact same? It's almost like you should have just made him a voice. It looked weird to me. I don't know.
I haven't looked into it. I
don't
don't know
worry, I'll
what's
get to
going
that
on
scene
there.
soon.
Is it him? Is it CGI? Is it
It's
a
him.
cartoon? It is him. Okay, I thought it was some weird CG mashup.
Well, I think I mean we're jumping all over the place. Palpatine is not exactly actually Ian McDermott.
Okay, I want to say welcome back also to the franchise to the Monkey Eyes Emperor, and the chimp he rode in on for this because that was some great
That was
OG
awful.
Emperor. Yeah, they made him look just as bad as Empire Strikes Back.
I mean, they should have put the one from Robot Chicken in at that point.
So
Like fully voiced by Seth MacFarlane too.
I honestly think what happened there is that like they're like, all right, Ian McDermott, you're 77 years old. This is like a 2-minute scene, if that. You're on a hologram. We can probably get away with face apping your Emperor makeup on if you just read the lines on your Zoom call at home or whatever. And I think that it's just they didn't do the makeup.
I'm at ICCon this weekend with Michael Hastings. Can he be in the shot? He's my friend. Sorry.
Exactly. You know what I mean? He probably did it from there, and then the voice audio wasn't good enough, so they re-speechered it, and it's like he's basically there but not exactly.
They used up all the money on the Vader stuff earlier.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know, like everybody, like it's pretty much unanimous that nobody is bothered by fake Darth Vader voice. Like it sounds good to pretty much everybody, right? Like no one finds it uncanny or off-putting in any way.
It sounded better than some moments of Rogue One. I really like the voice mixing when they did when the helmet gets split open and you hear Anakin's voice, and there's almost like 3 voices. Like there's Anakin, then it morphs to Vader, then there's almost a middle voice. At one point, it doesn't sound like Hayden Christensen or James Earl Jones, but it sounds cool. It's not fully mechanized or anything, but it was. I like that part a lot. I like seeing Hayden. I mean, I like him. Getting a little morphing it to where you see it more. Like you can see, I do see him in there more the way they did that voice.
I just got to that scene, and I really like how there's the lightsaber lighting on him, how it goes from blue more to red, and it was a well shot scene, well directed, well done. Like the fight's good. Like it's really good. Like I'm sorry, I enjoyed this. I enjoyed this. Now, am I watching this in the background right now? Are we recording a podcast? So of course I'm watching it in the background and not fully paying attention. Also, I love them having to jump through every hoop they possibly could to not have Luke see a lightsaber because he
I would
can.
bring that up too. That's so perfect that he passes out anytime a lightsaber is with, because she literally storms into his own house with a red lightsaber. He doesn't see. He just gets out the window just in time. He gets out later.
Yep, he gets out perfectly. Like I said, it's one of those things that just like Anakin and Grievous couldn't ever meet technically before Episode 3 because of a dumb line they wanted to keep in canon, but everything else can be thrown out the window.
Then Leia saw some lightsaber action, didn't she? Didn't she see like lightsaber battles at this point? Pretty cool.
But no, I mean, like I said, I thoroughly enjoy this. Oh, yep, there it is. He is passed out and that lightsaber is right there. Oh man, she could totally kill him. She could do it. But we all know his plot armor's thick.
Well, there's that. So, like, I mean, I won't take too much credit for calling it, because it was obvious as can be. But on our last recording, I said, they're not going to kill Reva because they're cowards, and they did not kill Reva because they're cowards. And
who's that 40-year-old attacking those? Oh wait, that's just D.H. Hayden Christensen.
Yeah, Reva survives multiple impalings by Hayden Christensen, so she's pretty much invincible as well. But I mean, so here, I just, I don't know. Like I enjoyed this series, but I find that there's just things that stop me from sort of connecting with it. Like Reva's a problem because she knows Luke, she knows about Leia, she's still out there. 20 minutes before Obi-Wan let her go, she was on a mission to murder a kid.
It's true. Her turnaround is quite quick for someone like this.
She was 20 minutes earlier, before she that was the plan. Murder this kid for revenge.
And she gives this big speech, after the Obi-Wan, after she, of course, does not kill Luke Skywalker. That would have been a real twist. She starts giving this speech about I failed them. And I honestly I couldn't tell if she was talking about if she failed the Inquisitors and Darth Vader, or if she failed her little friends, her fellow Padawans who got murdered. I was like, wait, aren't you like still basically almost a junior Sith at this point? Like, who do you care about more? Your Sith people? Did you let them down, or you let your kid friends down? Because this was a complicated plot to become evil to kill Darth Vader.
Well, I mean, she kind of implied that she became an Inquisitor purely to kill Darth Vader, but it makes you wonder how many people has she killed in the intervening time, where she's like just waiting until she's perfectly 5 feet adjacent to Vader to take the shot. Like when the series opens up, she is the one who's sort of employing unorthodox tactics and like throwing knives at people's faces and stuff, and the other Inquisitors are like, "Whoa, you're a little bit nuts. You're gonna have a collateral damage wake, massive."
I become the most psychotic person in the galaxy and just murder tons of people. I can get Darth Vader. It's like, you're doing more damage than Darth Vader's doing. You need to settle down.
I mean, he still did a lot of damage. He just showed up in that town and just started just throwing people around for the fun of it.
That's true. I forgot about Murder Town Vader.
Murder Town Vader's the best Vader. So I want to play a little game that we do on ZengThis, if you don't mind, real quick on here. We're going to look at some tomatoes.
Sure.
So, Rotten Tomato. Score for this. I am going with the critic score for the entire series. Joe. 0 to 100%. How fresh is that tomato? Are you making some pasta with it, or are you not?
I'm going to say they probably did it in the high 80s.
You're saying high 80s. All right. Chris, you're making some salsa with that tomato. You're going to make a nice salsa.
Land on a specific number, Joe, because it's obviously in the high 80s. So we got to...
No. High 80s is good. I don't mind that.
Can you commit to 87 or something for me?
I will commit between 85 to 89.
All right. I will allow it. Chris, do you want an exact number on that salsa? How tomatoey is this salsa going to be?
82.
82. All right. So maybe steering away from some of those tomatoes for that salsa. All right. Going over to you, sir. Russ, All right, how sun dried are these tomatoes? Are you going to be putting
This
them
is
on
the
a
critics
sandwich?
we're talking about, right? This is the critics.
Yeah, this is the
how many
critic one.
tomatoes?
This is the critic one.
Now, do those critics have their tomatoes out, ready to smash this, or are they loving it? I was saying, man, I'm gonna go 79.
All right. So we got all those numbers. 77. So Russ, congratulations on being
Right.
the closest. Yes, clap,
Maybe that
clap,
was just
clap.
in honor of
Not
Star
certified
Wars.
fresh. Not
Maybe that-
certified fresh.
Really?
Now, time for the filthy casuals. Everyone out there that also watches the average audience score. Going back around, Joe.
92.
Okay. Russ, I'm gonna go with you next.
All
'cause
right,
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
leave
say
Chris for last.
72. I'm gonna say it's even harsher because everyone hates Baby Leia. 72.
All right, Chris.
59.
Ooh. Russ, you okay over there?
I wasn't expecting that. That's good.
65. So obviously the critics, I think okay, so where do we land? Do we side with the critics or do we side with the casuals on this?
I'd side with the critics on that. I would give it around that kind of score. Sure. There was some high moments I liked. There was some kind of goofy stuff, but I've kind of gotten used to that in Star Wars in general. I think Star Wars itself is maybe maintaining that kind of rating, but yeah, I'd go more with the critics score.
Chris, I'm going with you last. Joe, you're up next.
I would go with what I say. I said it would be probably in the high 80s to low 90s. I liked it. It did not reshape my childhood.
All right.
That was the one thing I was worried about this show. It was going to do something stupid. It was going to come out of left field, and we're going to be like, "What?" And how does that lead into Episode 4 or even Rogue One? How does that do that? It doesn't make any sense. But everything, they had a narrow tunnel, and they actually went through it instead of slamming in the wall. A hell of a lot better than Book of Boba Fett. I would say it's better than The Mandalorian.
I'm gonna look up Book of Boba Fett while Chris explains where he sides on this.
Well, you made a critical error in your distinction between the critics and the casual singer. In this instance, the critics are the casuals. That's the problem. Right?
Whoa, we are.
You know what I mean?
Deep.
Like they have the unnuanced viewing where they're just like, yeah, I did eat some popcorn while I watched this, so therefore 80-something%.
Sorry, I just saw the Book of Boba Fett score.
Yeah.
Wolf.
Oh, yeah, Joe. You're completely right that it's better than that. Like, I was genuinely like angry after some episodes of the Book of Boba Fett. Not all
I
of
was
them.
gonna say the critics had to hate the Book of Boba Fett. That last episode, it was like, what am I watching?
Yeah, some of that was crazy, but yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm just sort of very lukewarm on this show, man. I don't know. Like, is that just me
you're
as a
what
person
on this show, Luke?
I'm Anakin Crispy on this show. I don't know.
Perfect.
I like it. Joe's right that it didn't massively like screw anything up, which is nice. I was really worried about that happening, except for Reva being out there is kind of problematic.
Oh, don't worry, they'll fix that. And
Ahsoka.
Cassian Andor.
Right.
They need a bad girl batch where they can get her, they can get Cara Dune together, and all and the Moxley twin girls.
Well, they had that one scene in Mandalorian season 2 that was kind of exactly that, but it was pretty much most of those
pretty
characters.
close, yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing that you can actually glean from this is what Disney did early on. The critics were not going to go so deep and lower than the fans because of the marketing that they put in it, because everyone was sitting there saying that, oh, you can't stop being racist, don't do this, don't do that. And that's why the critic score is so high, because if anyone sat there and chomped on it and started like being very hypercritical about it, they would have that to lean into.
So I got my opinion, if it's okay, real quick.
So you're saying it's got like a woke shield to it? Like you can't
Yes.
criticize if you get too woke with your show. That it's just you can at least float around the high 80s, mid 80s.
So my opinion of the show goes as such. It's I feel like I described it as, I'm trying to remember the exact term I used because I had a really good analogy for it. As like it's like popcorn or it's like gum. I mean, yeah, it's there. It does what it needs to, but in the end, it doesn't really have anything thing going. There is nothing. It adds, but it doesn't subtract from anything. And it's just kind of you can see it, and you can see it or you don't. It's just kind of exists. It's nothing.
It doesn't have like anything epically memorable. I mean,
cool fight.
A cool fight on a dark planet with almost a comic book kind of thing with Darth Vader. Yeah, that's kind of what's going to be the end takeaway of this. That we got to see Anakin peeking out of the mask. That's going to be like the most cool thing.
Nothing happened as we weren't expecting. Like it gave us exactly what we wanted. We left happy.
But he's not a brother. What? Sister? No, brother.
I don't know. I'm not. You know what? I'm gonna say it. I'm not sure I agree. I'm not sure I agree that it didn't mess anything up. Obi-Wan was supposed to lose that fight, for sure. Why didn't he? It's not right, man. It's not a matchup. Vader's not threatened by him. He's not looking for him anymore. The reason they give in the show that why Vader's not looking for Obi-Wan is because the Emperor's like, Vader, we are running a galaxy here. Maybe you could sort of pretend to do your job and stop worrying about Obi-Wan because we have 2 or 3 other things to do. That's basically the reason given to us that Vader's no longer looking for Obi-Wan. A much better reason would be thinking he actually died. And it's like we were talking about in previous recordings. It would if there was a convenient way that Obi-Wan slipped away and convinced Vader he died, it would give a reason why Vader's stamping out the cloak, for example. It would give a reason why Vader could not be less interested in whatever that presence is he's feeling on the Death Star, because Obi-Wan's dead, so it's whatever it is, it's not him. I think he was supposed to lose this fight. There's probably a draft of the script that was that way, and somebody who's not thinking about it big picture said, that doesn't really jive with what we want to do. And then it's just
Obi-Wan looks super cool, and he's going to be a badass.
I agree with Chris on that, because if you sit there and you look at how everything progressed in that last episode, not only do you have the duel between Vader and Obi-Wan, but you also have Reva sitting there attacking Owen and Aunt Beru on Tatooine. You would think that he would sit there. Yeah, I have no doubt in my mind. Yes, have him sit there, throw the boulders, everything like that. But he needs to get away quick. He should have been able to feel that through the Force, especially if he's, how he got supercharged was because he was looking towards the future. He sits there and was focusing on the 2 kids. In that moment, what he should have done was just ducked out.
Well, and also it'd be like if you look at it as a trilogy of duels between Anakin and Obi-Wan. You got episode 3 goes Obi-Wan. This one should have gone Vader, and then the third one is sort of ambiguous. It just works better that way. This Vader getting his ass handed to him is just so weird to me, because it's like Obi-Wan could have stopped it once again. He failed to finish Anakin off for no particular reason, and how many?
It wasn't his place.
Yeah, okay, but how many people died because of that decision?
I don't know. It became Luke's place later, because just 10 years later, he's like, nope, you got to go kill Darth Vader. No, you can't turn him. No, you just go kill him.
This is why I think it was a change late in the game, because you remember there was
season 2.
Story.
Hold on, you bring it up that there's season 2 already. We know maybe that's when he has to have this happen to him. Maybe they didn't. They wanted this little bit of Trump, but that means there would be another Darth Vader fight. And I think the big thing they have to fix, though, I agree with you that Ben or Obi-Wan, he should think he's dead. Tarkin even says, surely he's dead by now. It almost leaves the thing like he was all messed up. It's like, oh, you mean that guy the last time you saw him, he ripped your, destroyed your helmet, just kind of left you for
He
dead.
didn't tell anyone about it. You think he went off and was like,
they knew. Well, they had to pick him up.
They picked him up. Yeah.
He had a Landa class
That's true.
shuttle. He could have gone into hyperspace, gone right back to his.
That was a pilot on that thing.
No, why would Vader need a pilot?
Can you imagine the visual of Vader flying his own Lambda class shuttle?
I can picture him flying the shuttle.
I can picture it perfectly. Just him sitting there with some tunes on, or getting caught up on his most recent podcast. The actual Knights of Vader.
That's the one thing. I think if they had that little dialogue before he got buried, it would have been perfect. Like, have him do all that stuff with Vader, have him have the scarred mask and everything like that, and then Vader just trounce him.
But then Vader has closure.
Exactly, and that's what.
But we
would have
don't
made
want
it-
Vader to have closure. Vader has to be angry.
For the
Someone needs to
story?
step in, like in a ship needs to come down and shoot at Vader. Maybe something, I don't know, ridiculous, but whatever. If we're making this scenario,
No, but if you sit there and look at it this way, okay, how that story unfolds, all right. If you do everything up until the time where Vader sits there and throws the rocks on him, take that out of the picture and just move that towards the end, where he sits there and he slices Vader's mask open, and next thing you know, he's throwing all these rocks at him, and then next thing you know, he sits there, I killed him, and that stuns Kenobi, and then next thing you know, what does Vader do? He picks up those rocks that he just threw at him and threw them on him, and then that gives Vader, I killed him, he's done, he's out of sight, out of mind. There doesn't need to be a video conference with the Emperor, be like, hey, you need to get your priorities in order. I'm going to have to sit there and replace you. It's one of those. It would have been. Now hindsight's 2020, and I don't make movies, I don't make TV shows. But if you just sit there and do it that way, I think you would have gotten a little bit better. And Obi-Wan isn't going to come out and be like, haha, I'm alive. Because guess what? He knows he needs to go back to Tatooine because he felt in the Force that Luke was in trouble. All right. And to me, that would have been a lot better. And that would have.
I think it's fine how it is.
I believe it was that way once, Joe, because I remember there was a headline about this where it was like they delayed production or something because I think it was actually Kathleen Kennedy who said it. She was like, the scripts were too dark. We needed to brighten that up a little bit. And we had to pause and rewrite those so that they weren't nightmare fuel for children.
It was actually being written in a dark room, so no one could see what they were actually writing. Actually, you know what? I think the way it should have happened was he should have thrown the rocks on top of him, been about to throw the final rock, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, another person with a lightsaber jumps in. I don't know, somebody just throwing a name out there. Galen Merrick-esque character.
Jar Jar Binks.
Yes, he would have been
that too.
Time. No, say
this is how we introduce Star Killer.
Andor Fever is about to be cut. We can get all the Galen Merrick references out in that, I'm sure.
Perfect.
Yeah. All right. So basically,
Reva jumps in and stops him. We think she's on Tatooine the whole time, but she's actually there.
She's fast. She can get back to the other planet.
She actually was there. She was just checking him. She wanted to make sure that Vader didn't get taken out.
Obi-Wan, I'm about ready to kill this kid, but I decided to save you so you could sit there and stop me on Tatooine. Okay, bye. And then she goes and hops into it.
She goes back. She's like, I left the kid in the desert. I got to go fix that.
Stay here. Yeah. You owe me one now.
Need you to help me find this kid in the Dune Sea.
She's just watching their duel on top of one of those mesas, eating popcorn, and then goes back to Tatooine. There's plenty of time. Hyperspace is fast. I don't know, man.
Or what was the other thing that we were talking about the last episode where he went back to Tatooine and I ended him, and then Vader kills Reva. I think that's what we were talking about last time. Where she says, I offed Obi-Wan. You don't have to worry about it anymore. And then Vader, enraged, just like ices her out.
Why are we all trying to kill Reva all the time?
Because I don't want more Reva, Zenger, and now we have to have more Reva in some form.
Well, no Reva lightsabers. I think that's been established this last time.
She's a poor decision maker. She's not a good person. She was gonna go kill Luke for no good reason. And then she just started crying, and Obi-Wan's like, I guess we'll let you off the hook. You're crying, lady. I guess I can't kill you.
Yeah, I think that's the writing, man.
And maybe he did. Do we ever see her not dead?
They had a pint of blue milk together.
Just saying. Oh, we also got him saying hello there.
Yes.
So yeah, I would say.
Well,
I think that's the closer. We haven't gotten to the other element because this is one of those episodes though. They call it the super action-packed adventure closing, and all the action kind of happens in the beginning, and then there's a lot of closing where you've got to go through. Finally, goes back to Leia. I think we haven't talked about any of that at all, right? I thought it was over. I saw there was 18 minutes left though. When I had rewatched, I was like, we've got a lot of reconciling to do. So what did you guys think of Leia's closure? Because Leia was a major character. She was I'd say, what would you call the second or third major character in this? And what do you think of her closure in this?
It was closed.
I think the best thing about Leia is that I have no I have no smarmy negative comments about her character, so like it must have been fine. You know, like nothing stands out to me as like overtly problematic with her, except for stuff we went over in the earlier episodes. Just like it's not even really her; it's just like the action direction of like the attempt at abducting her is just like some Power Rangers '90s TV stuff. I don't know, that was bad, but the actress, the portrayal, I don't know any of these actors' names. I'm sorry about that, but she did a great job. I think it was competent.
Steve.
Yeah, young Steve there did a great job playing Leia, and I don't think they did anything too weird in there. It was nice that they did us the decency of having Obi-Wan tell her we ought to pretend like we never met each other, at least to account for some of the nonsense that they let slide earlier in the series of things that she saw. I don't know. I think they did a great job with her, except for like, I mean, there's just, it's not her. It's really not her. It's like, right. It's like when she's fixing the hangar door with her Tamagotchi.
Her little Mickey Mouse robot.
Like she has a lot of experience with industrial hangar doors, I guess, at 7 years old or whatever it is. And Roken's just standing there with his hands in the air, like, what do I do? I'm Roken. I don't know what a control panel looks like. Don't have any of those in the volume.
We can get the control panel. I'm going to need 2 more hours. Like, we can give you an hour. Still gonna
like those guys are so useless.
Gotta think of something else.
Roken and the guy, like the snake oil salesman guy, he's just
Camille Nanjiani. That's right. He had his closure too for being a fake Jedi. He stuck around quite a bit on this. I thought he was gonna eat it at some point. I couldn't believe he lived.
Right. But I mean, like it's literally not the same. Like I think that's what bugs me out about this. Like it's not the same universe almost as the other movies, right? It's just like Roken and Camille Nanjiani. I can't remember the actor's name who plays Roken. They're literally just standing there spinning around with like dunce caps on.
It's like when you get a new job and you meet that group of friends and there's like a new group of work friends and like, oh, I'm in your little weird world. That's what kind of happened to Obi-Wan. He kind of made some work friends for about a month and they're not going to stick around through Star Wars.
They're just about to be demolished by the Empire and these two guys have literally nothing to offer. They're like, well, I'm just going to stand here holding my iPad and like keep saying, dang it.
And breathe heavily.
No, I know what happened. See,
it's baby
Leia
Q.
ran up, activated the quest, and they're like, go collect the following items from around the room.
Yeah. And then press X on the hangar door and it will open.
Yeah.
Roken was baby Cube, wasn't he? He was Ice Cube's kid.
Indispensable character.
Yeah, that's why, he's...
I mean...
He's got family armor. That's why he didn't.
But am I? I don't know. Like we talked about this before, but like,
you could write more exciting characters, Chris. I think it would solve some of this too. Because a lot of characters they write are just like, I'm just a guy who does this, and I'm very calm, and I don't do anything. It's like you can spice it up a little at Star Wars. There can be more than one Han Solo-ish kind of guy. You can have like a roguish guy or something, or like I mean, I know.
Then it's why aren't these guys involved in other stories then?
Well, it's like Rogue One. It's like Rogue One. You're right.
You gotta kill them.
You meet these people, and you sit there, and you're like, "Wow, this is awesome." But how come I have never seen them? You find out why you've never seen them because they all fight it at the end. It's like watching the Titanic. It was beautiful because you know that anyone that you got attached to in that movie is dead. They're gone. You don't have to worry about where are they in The New Hope. Guess what? Yeah. They're burnt to sunder.
Blue Leader.
Okay, Joe says that. Joe says that on the eve of 12 episodes of Cassian Andor coming out.
Yeah.
But of course, that's a prequel. Yeah. But
cannot wait to see how many people get iced in that. 0
is right because that's the thing is those are the people that are going to be in Rogue One that get iced out.
Oh yeah, Andor's got super plot armor too.
But that's the one thing is, I thought that the Viper's sister from Game of Thrones was going to stick around and she was going to be like hanging around Obi-Wan. That's one, but they killed her off with the droid. I thought the droid and
best character.
Exactly, the droid was best character, but I thought the woman, I forgot her name. Whatever her name was,
Martell from Game of Thrones.
Yeah. But I thought she was going to be, Obi-Wan's
love interest,
bungalow buddy in Tatooine. And I thought I was like, you know what?
Look at his history.
Obi-Wan did have a love interest in the 2001 Xbox game Obi-Wan. It was one of
I
the
can bring this
Queen's
up now?
handmaidens. Yeah.
Okay, so there was an idea that this episode should just be about the 2001 Xbox exclusive Obi-Wan video game, which I've never played, but Chris tells me that there's some pretty fascinating stuff happening in that.
Yeah,
Murder.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I was thinking about that game a lot, and then I heard the latest episode of Russ and I's other favorite Star Wars podcast, the Kivecast, talked about Xbox Obi-Wan this month, which I was with like synergy. My mind was blown. But it's just, it's just
Oh, that game.
you can't. It's one of those
Finally
things where
looked it up.
it's one of those things where that game was never re-released on like anything, and it has so many interesting mechanics, like massive single
green
player
it is.
campaign.
Because
Yeah,
it
well,
was
that's
Xbox.
yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just like,
exactly.
you knew it. Yeah, it's like Obi-Wan is not known for his green lightsaber. Well, on Xbox he is. He's
That was
gonna
an
be very
Xbox
green.
Xbox exclusive launch title in 2001 with the launch of the Xbox, so it had to be green. Like there's this Jedi Starfighter game on Xbox had a green cover like that too. They were doing it for a while, like they shouldn't have real colors on their game covers for a while. But it's just if you're hooked up at home to play some Obi-Wan on your original Xbox, you should try it. You should revisit it because they never released it on anything else. So I don't know. I know Joe has it because when I mentioned it, he posted a picture of his copy in our chat, which respect. But that's
All my old stuff I put on there. All my old Xbox games: Clone Wars,
PlayStation.
Starfighter, Knights of the Old Republic.
yeah.
So
Battle-
just to give you some idea. Okay, wait. Let's play this game again. Game Informer's review score for this. Let's just go with Game Informer. And you know what? IGN's close too. So let's go with Game Informer and IGN score for this game.
Hold on, is it a contemporary review with the game release or is it a modern review? Can you tell?
It is a contemporary review to the best of my knowledge. Tell you what, hold on. I can even get it's a review at the time. It is a review at the time.
I would say probably like 65.
65. Okay. Game Informer and IGN do from 1 to 10.
So probably I'd say 7
All
because
right.
it was a Star Wars game.
All right.
8.
Chris?
8.
8. All right, Russ. IGN and Game Informer score for this fantastic game by
Obi-Wan?
Yeah.
7.5.
You were all completely wrong. 5.9 from IGN and
Wow.
6.25 from Game Informer.
All right,
So,
well, let's
bad.
All right, so
Also, game rankings 60% and Metacritic 58. So
okay. All right, so I'll drop it about this real quick, but like this game is so nuts. Like this game has a subplot where while Obi-Wan, in episode 1, Obi-Wan just hangs out on the Queen's Starfighter while Qui-Gon, Padme, and Jar Jar go actually have an adventure.
no, he doesn't.
In this game, one of the handmaidens gets kidnapped by Tusken Raiders in the middle of the night off the Queen's Starfighter and hauled into the desert somewhere. And Obi-Wan goes on like a vision quest of Tusken Raider murder to go recollect her. And he kills like 200 Tusken Raiders in their camp at night. And he fights a like 8-foot tall Tusken war chief to get this handmaiden back. And it's just funny when you think about it in the context of what happens later in the story and
Of
how
course. He could have told Anakin, that's fine. I've killed way more Tuskens than you. Do not sweat over this. They had your mom. This was just some handmaid. I didn't even know her name.
Yeah, Anakin never quite gets over the judgment he receives from others over murdering all those Tusken Raiders. Palpatine likes to bring it up. Remember that time you told me you killed all those Tusken Raiders, you crazy fool?
Not these men. Not these.
Palpatine brings it up with
Women.
judgment in episode 3. He's like, "Yeah, that was you. You really went nuts that day, huh?"
And the ghost of that Tusken was in his ear going, and he was like, oh God, it's a Tusken noise again.
So I'm
That's one of my
gonna throw this
favorite sound effects in all of Star Wars in episode 3 when he brings that up and you hear the Tusken goes, like, whoa.
So I'm going to throw this out there real quick. Instead of playing that game, you can play a much better game called Star Wars Episode 1 Jedi Power Battles, which
Yes,
is
I had
freaking
that
awesome.
game.
Go play that instead. Does it have a better score according to the aggregators I said? Absolutely not.
See,
But
I
you
was
can play it on such great systems as the PlayStation.
1.
Okay.
Yes, I have
Or-
that game. I recently got a lot of games out of storage. I was actually looking for it, but I realized I have it by my PlayStation. I have found that I have Super Bombad Racing for PlayStation 2. Now, Super
big
Bombad
heads.
Racing is big head racing game with Darth Maul and Jar Jar and Yoda flying around, just almost it's the closest thing I guess Mario Kart,
Yeah.
but not really.
Yeah, I think I think I have literally every Star Wars game that's ever come out. But you know, there's some news. There is some news in the Star Wars gaming world, and you know,
Devastating news.
Yeah, well, but you know, just for anyone who's like, oh, it sounds like a lot of work to hook up my original Xbox. Just think about that. I just want to speak to you real quick. Here's why the Obi-Wan game is great in like one sentence. All right, this is something no Star Wars game has ever done other than this game. In the combat in this Obi-Wan game, you wield your lightsaber with an entire thumbstick on the controller. Like left, right, up, down are lightsabers directional slashes. Never done in any other game. It's a beautiful mechanic. It's really fun. You actually feel like you're connected with the lightsaber rather than mashing one button for an attack. It's interesting.
It is interesting.
Check it out.
I mean, I know Wii games were able to use just the Wii controller.
Yeah,
as,
but you know, there's
a Clone Wars battle game that I used to have for that.
Yep. No, this is a standard controller. The right thumbstick is just all lightsaber attacks. It's crazy. Anyway, I know if you don't have it, it will cost you like $200 to get everything you need to play this game. So it's still worth it. But anyways, aside from that, we did of course have this last week. We had this crazy, fun, glorious news that the Knights of the Old Republic remake has been canceled unofficially.
No. Put on indefinite hiatus.
Yeah, well,
there's a difference.
You know, it wasn't going to be good. It was going to be it was going to be problematic. They were going to mess up the story because they can't help themselves. And I'm for one happy about this. You can get it on iOS. You can get it on Xbox One.
On everything. I think it came with a computer I bought recently, just on there.
Yep, it came out with they limited run, made a special edition box set recently. Get the actual game. It's good.
All right, so real quick, which one? Okay, Jedi Power Battle or Obi-Wan game, which is more expensive on eBay?
I'd say
Obi-Wan.
You're going to go with Obi-Wan. Joe?
I don't know. I picked up mine for $14.
Ooh. All right, so eBay seller.
But that was in 1999.
Oh, I think I threw these at people when I worked at GameStop. Like, just chucked them at
Jedi
people.
Power Battles? Yeah, I know.
No.
I have it in the room with me right now.
I'm talking about Obi-Wan. I mean, I used that to get people out of the store. Just threw it at them.
Okay. It's Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan, $9.99 used with $14 shipping. I'm going with that one. Or the $5.99. But it does have the box, so shame. But it is the platinum hit, so that might deduct. As for Jedi Power Battles, $5.99.
Yeah. Well, the problem with Obi-Wan is that you have to, the problem with Obi-Wan is you have to buy an Xbox. You have to buy an original Xbox to play Obi-Wan, and Power Battles is probably playable on a PS2 and some PS3s. So
it
is.
I might actually film myself playing some Power Battles tonight. I actually enjoy that game. That's fun. Fun side scroller. You get to be Plo Koon in it or whatever and stuff.
And blue lightsaber mace.
Yes, yeah, red. Yeah, because this was an episode 1 game before his lightsaber color was revealed.
Ding, ding, ding.
But it's an annoyingly hard game.
Also, just throwing this out there, if you have your Dreamcast, you could also play this game. So, for all you Dreamcast owners out there, what are you doing with your life?
Dream's still
alive. Know what? I would absolutely stream some playing Obi-Wan, but it's only playable on Xbox, which has like analog video cables, so it's real pain.
Man, you can get that on Twitch. Yeah, I bet you people would watch you play that.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a way of doing it. Yeah.
There's always a way to do it.
There's so many adapters. You could sit there and do that.
Yeah, if you just get buried somewhere with a bunch of rocks on you and you start thinking about how bad things are going, you'll figure out how to do it, and you'll pull it all together.
Just walk into your local Best Buy, annoy the living crap out of one of the people in there and say, you saw you could do this online. Just make them just hate themselves.
Yeah.
Then leave and just go buy the cable yourself.
Yeah. Ask some 17-year-old at Best Buy how to connect a console that came out like 7 years before he was born. It's like,
It was before HDMI, I think.
yeah, it was.
Yeah, way before.
Yeah, I don't. Well, you can use component like red, green, blue. That's as advanced as the original Xbox got. But I don't know. All right, so obviously, these games are clearly better than Obi-Wan the series, and they have captured our attention. I don't know. Is there like people have been, listeners have been complaining when we posted a toy related episode. I mean, by which I mean,
Oh my god, we
specifically
almost
one
got
person.
through the entire episode without talking about toys. We were so close. Anyways,
I'm just bringing that up because people were like, "Where's that Obi-Wan Part 6 episode?" You got it. Do you guys have anything else you want to say about this? What is there a lasting impact? Do you think there's going to be a season 2? How do you feel about it, Joe?
I think there is going to be a season 2. Hopefully, it strays away from Vader. Hopefully, that chapter is done. But they just got to find the formula that works for them. I don't know if it's going to be original characters for their streaming or what, but it's when they're using existing characters, it's they got to open themselves up. That's why the Mandalorian show is going to be a little bit better in the long run, and they can have multiple seasons with it, because those are basically they could tap into so many characters that they just developed for that series. And why didn't they show up in the sequel trilogy? Because it's 5 years after Return of the Jedi, and that's a whole big story that they could tell. But I think they're going a little bit too far into the nostalgia right now. Hopefully they change it. Hopefully they find their way. They can't be Star Trek overnight. That's the one thing.
Yeah, well, everybody knows that if you have 5 series going at once, then your franchise has to go into recover in Valhalla for 15 years for a while if you do that. So, that's what happened to Star Trek. Hopefully that's what happened to Star Wars. But Obi-Wan was, for me it was passable. It was kind of meh. I can see them making changes on the fly. I think Obi-Wan was supposed to lose that fight. They respond to these things in real time these days, and it depends what side of the bed somebody gets up on, what happens in this story, and then it's canon for the foreseeable 20 years till they reset canon. I don't know. It didn't quite make it where I thought it needed to be for me, but I am excited about Andor. Russ, any final thoughts on the 6-part series of Obi-Wan?
Special event Obi-Wan Kenobi. I like parts of it. Like you, I don't think there's a lot of just like big lasting impact for me with this. There were certain elements that I'll always remember, but the thing is, the show is kind of an island. Like there's not a lot to side stuff going on. There needs to be something else going on during this time. It's a fun time. Like Vader, kind of in his prime, he's getting his ass kicked. Sometimes he's still out there doing stuff, but there's not much else going on. Luke and Leia are little kids. We don't know. There's no really any rebels yet. Andor is supposed to take place not during this time, right?
I think it's pretty close, actually.
Well, maybe they're building that time up a little bit. Maybe, who knows? Maybe Obi-Wan could show up in Andor. That is always a possibility, or vice versa at some point.
I think the Solo movie and Obi-Wan and Andor are all sort of within like 3-4 years of each other.
Well, if they can somehow get away from the Darth Vader element, maybe some nefarious business out there, but we can't. But the thing is that he can't meet Han Solo because he's going to meet him later. He can't be like, we should never say that we went on that great adventure, you and I and Chewbacca. Remember that? Don't tell this.
Yoda already went on an adventure with Chewbacca. Yeah.
And they all know each other. Yes, they can go talk about Yoda. That never came up between Chewie and Obi-Wan. I don't know why Chewie never asked him. Hey, Yoda? Remember that guy?
Yeah. All right, Zenger.
Right.
Zenger, you're carrying the torch. I think. What's gonna stay with you from this 6-part limited series?
Oh, I want the dead silence there.
He's trying to eat me.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's fine. It exists. It's nothing like groundbreaking. As I said, it adds something.
Can we use that as a pull quote? It's fine. It exists. Zanger. Like, yeah, all right, we'll watch it.
Yeah, put that on the box blurb. It's no Transformers 1986, but then again, what is?
Oh, you got the touch, Zanger.
And yeah,
Best
what
movie
a
ever,
shame,
by
what a
the way.
shame that didn't make it in the lightsaber battles. That was
I am
to
so
me.
ashamed of myself for forgetting that was there. We could have used it. Oh well.
Till
I mean, it
all
would
or
have
one.
won. So
Next year.
obviously.
But the one
Because
thing I would like to
these lightsaber battles weren't included at all in any of that. We got all these new lightsaber battles that are going to be happening. So that contest will keep going on.
Well, the one thing too is, I could see when we were talking about the first couple, even before the series came out, we all had, what we thought was going to happen. And I thought one of the big things that I stepped in was Yoda didn't show up. He didn't go to Dagobah. That was mine. I thought if he went to Dagobah, that would have been almost pretty good.
What if he brought Luke there and made him knock? Remember, because Luke is like, it's like I've been here before. It's like a dream.
Yeah.
Oh, they could explain that great line.
Well, they should have season 2 have him have like a force vision of Yoda in Dagobah.
That's a little more subtle than him actually literally going there, Joe. I hope they have your sensibilities.
No, Obi-Wan.
Okay, I was talking about
going
Luke.
to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Luke is watching Obi-Wan do it.
He's like, "Whoa, old Ben,
Yeah.
you gave me a toy. What kind of toy are you going to
I
bring
didn't know
me
there
from
was a swamp
Dagobah?"
on the Dune Sea. Get out of here, Luke. I'm talking to my buddy.
All right. Well,
It's
I
right
actually
by the tree.
Oh my gosh. All right, so I guess we're gonna wrap this up if everybody is content. I actually did get some value out of my Disney Plus today and watched Prey, the new Predator sequel.
Ooh.
Not bad. Not bad.
Is that the first R-rated thing to be added to Disney Plus?
Of course, the original Predator is on there as well, and all the Aliens
know that.
movies. Well, at least they are in Canada. I don't know about over there, but and
So you think you got a different Disney than we have? I don't.
You're talking about Hulu.
No, well, actually, so it's a Canada thing because when Disney bought the Fox library, all the Aliens and Predators went on Disney Plus here. But yeah, it's pretty great. But there's like 20 of those now. It's crazy. But I thoroughly enjoyed Prey. It's at least a audience score of like 80 from me.
No, it is an audience score of 83, but a certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes with 92%.
Wow. All right. Well, you know what? I think y'all should check that out. It's gripping. But anyways, I hope that we didn't rain on your parades too much if you thoroughly enjoyed Obi-Wan. I feel like I enjoyed it more in the moment when I was watching it. But like much of things that have come out since the peak of Western civilization in 2011, I find it doesn't really stick with...
The peak of cinema was 1986's Transformers the movie. We have all been in a steep decline since then. That is where we peaked, and then downhill from there.
Well, Zinger, if you look at cinema as starting in the early teens and peaking in 2011, Transformers the movie is like it's pretty close to the crest. Like it's not it's reaching perfection. It's in one of the best eras. It's not
Vintage Star Wars toys were still on the shelf probably in 1986. Definitely,
yes,
you could pick up a Power of the Force, a Man-to-Man, go see Transformers. This is definitely the time.
Anakin Skywalker.
This was the peak. You could get one in the mail probably if you sent them a bunch of stuff.
Exactly, and they came with a coin, the AT-ST driver.
Where did it all go wrong?
Chuck that coin at somebody.
We'll figure it out. Something happened sometime in 1987.
Han Solo and Carbonite.
Yeah.
That came out of the Carbonite.
Yeah, it was. It was like a clear gray plastic Carbonite block.
I still have that.
Yeah, it was like really bad.
And we got to the toy discussion.
Yep, and a terrible looking, and the worst looking Han Solo figure inside. What a joyous toy.
All right, well, I'm going to help close it out. I'll take over at the end here. Before we go, Zenger, do you have anything you want to say or plug?
No.
Go check out ZengThis Podcast if you ever heard of it. Joe Yazzo, you got anything to say or plug?
Yeah, we just published episode 8 of The Wheel of Convo. We started talking about conspiracy theories, and we're going to be working on our next topic of conversation, madmen or geniuses throughout history. So that should be coming up soon. So
right, I want to get in on this. Get me in on that, Joe. I want to be on your episode.
I followed you.
Well, let's do it. All right. And Chris, what do you have to say or plug?
All right, you can go ahead and follow me at the Chris Porteous on Instagram if you want to see some cool photography up there. I'm a little biased, but I've been posting a little more on there lately. And if you want a heads up when new episodes of Knights of Vader drop, follow KOV Podcast on Instagram. That's all from me.
Do it. It's very fun. And go check out, of course, Unbelievers Podcast. We do live Twitch streams and episodes all the time. And go check out something called Zona del Silencio. There's a podcast out there. It's called Zona del Silencio. Check it out. And check out Cinnamon Bun Oddities, some other show I heard about. This guy named Zack hosts it. It's great. And as always,
The Force will be with you.